I wish you'd stop calling me Tennessee. I don't even know anybody from Tennessee. I'll drink to that. What's up? My name is Alex, and I use he, him, his pronouns or AMR's pronouns, and I wanted to talk about the negative effects of having a dissociative disorder. I want to talk about all the things that make living with a dissociative disorder complicated and tiresome for me. I'm just going to get right into it just because this video, I'm just kind of knocking out this video. I didn't really have anything else to add to the beginning, really. Same old stuff going on in my life, just making videos and hanging out and taking care of cats. That's always fun. That's about it. Every time I do a video on having a dissociative disorder, I always say, please go back to the original video where I talked about it and talked about having a dissociative disorder. This is what the thumbnail looks like. Go back, find that video. I think I have a playlist for neurodivergent stuff. So look there, learn, understand what it means to have a dissociative disorder. Briefly, it just means multiple identities, multiple entities residing in one body. It's not multiple personality disorder. It is something entirely different. So check that out before this video, or look it up if you want to. But yeah, check that out, and then you will understand what I'm talking about in this video. So I have OSDD. It's otherwise specified dissociative disorder. That is a mouthful, but it is not DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. That one is specifically, I think, more distinct headmates and less overlap between them, and usually amnesia between switching alters. Specifically in DID, you call them alters. I don't think you call them alters in OSDD. I think it's specifically a DID term, but I have that, OSDD, and living with that can be a challenge, specifically regarding factors like gender identity, morality, emotions, thoughts, opinions, all kinds of things. It is basically just living, people living rent-free in my brain who are constantly arguing over just a bunch of different things, I guess is what you would call that. I guess that's the best way to describe what I am dealing with here. Specific general issues that I've always had with being dissociative: memory issues, forgetting moments in time, not knowing who was fronting at the time. That's the person pretty much taking the reins, not knowing who was in a specific moment at a specific time. Very foggy childhood. There's barely anything I can remember from childhood. If I'm going to be totally honest, it's like I didn't have a past. And the older I get, the more I forget, sort of thing. And even moments in time, like 2-3 years ago, I forget places, I forget things. It's hard to distinguish the memory issues, like, due to being dissociative, from memory issues that apparently happen when you're really depressed. Depression can bring on memory loss, apparently, but it's hard to distinguish the two things. Sometimes I'm unsure if certain things really happened or not. Lapses in short-term memory, I wouldn't be able to tell you what I did yesterday versus 2 days ago. They're kind of the same to me in my brain. It's like a lot of things in the past blending together, and I have some memories of things and some, I don't know, kind of moments about certain events. So memory issues are definitely a thing, especially there's definitely a fog between switching headmates. Not a distinct amnesia, but there's definitely like a gray area of like, I don't know what happened. It's a weird like liminal space, I guess. So identity issues, that has been a big thing on this channel, talking about, not knowing what kind of labels to use, because for me, it changes. Sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, that label definitely fits me. And then I start questioning it not too long after, like maybe it doesn't fit. Because there are like these other specific moments that I didn't take into account for. I have a video, actually I have a couple videos of plurality affecting my gender, plurality affecting my sexuality. I went pretty in depth with my two headmates and talking about how our identities tend to overlap, and I get confused between their identities versus my own identity. And like, I think it would help to like see that, like to check out that video as well. I do have a few videos on plurality and how it intersects with my identity and issues with identity. Gender presentation, oh my god, that's another one that I struggle with. It's not that like I'm trying to present as a certain gender. I've talked about this before. My gender presentation is just an expression of queerness. Sometimes I will dress more masculinely to fit the gender that I am a little better, but I'll dress femininely not because I'm trying to pass as some other kind of gender, but just because I'm a man who passes and I can present femininely without really running the risk of being misgendered, I guess. But there's moments where I will walk into my closet and I have feminine clothing, more neutral and feminine clothing on one side, and then my more masculine stuff on the other side. Like I've like split my clothes into two different parts, and I will sit there and mull over like how I feel that day. I don't know like how I feel, how comfortable I feel being more feminine than masculine, and like I have like a moment of struggle with figuring out how I want to present for the day. Other issues I've dealt with is finding specific identity labels. It's really hard to find something that fits me, not like just the parts of me. I'm trying to distinguish myself from the experiences and identities of my headmates. It's a little hard to do that. It's kind of difficult to figure out who I am in this equation and what specifically describes and fits me as a person. Other just general issues, fluctuating emotions and mood swings, problems with decision making, which leads to impulsive decisions. I am very bad at making decisions. I'm so bad at like, if you ask me like A or B, I will sit there and be like, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know how to make decisions anymore. Fighting over things in general, that's another one. Just like the decision making, like the right thing to do in a moment, what to say to people. That's definitely like an internal conflict that I deal with. Like having a dissociative disorder, just it's a lot of inner turmoil, it seems. It's a lot of kind of fighting with myself. And it affects my everyday life. I kind of struggle with sort of who I am in the moment and who I am presenting as in the moment. Because, people have mentioned before, like, I'm like a different person sometimes. I'll be one way like one day and then another way the next day. It's hard to like distinguish that from like changes in mood. I don't think it's like a mood thing. I think it's just more of like, I just don't know like who's really at the front the most at that moment. My mood and my feelings change a lot. I said mood swings, but I guess it's still considered mood swings. I don't have drastic mood swings. It's just like some things bother me, or like feel overwhelming to me or make me angry, and then other times those things might not have the same effect on me, or seemingly so, just because I don't know, it's so hard to explain, I guess. But I guess it's just a struggle with just having moods that make sense for the moment and are consistent. Because there's certain things that like overstimulate me, and I'm just like, I don't want to be near any sound or bright lights or do anything. And then there's other days where it's like, I want to like go out and party. I want to go out and like just expend all this extra energy I have. Energy, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it. It still sounds like I'm talking about moods or emotions, but that's definitely not the case. There's also a really distinct issue of just trying to explain who the real me is, because I'm the host of the system. It's just the person who kind of controls everything is usually largely fronting, and like that's like basically the person in charge, and it's just hard to figure out what that is for me. Like, who am I versus, the areas where my headmates' identities overlap with mine. Like, I've gone into like gender speculation. Like, am I hyper masculine because I have a very masculine headmate? Do I have confusion over gender and labels because one of my headmates isn't even human? Like, there's that, and sexuality labels and just general things. I mean, I'll take those like those like personality, like the 16 personality types quizzes, and first of all, it changes between like 3 different ones. It's always IN, and then like it could be TP, or whatever the other 2 letters are that can be there, or 4 letters that can be in those 2 spaces, like INFP, INTP, like it's always IN something, and it tends to change just depending on when I decided to do the test. Figuring out, like, they always give you like the scale of like, they pose a question, and then it's like very much disagree, slightly disagree, neutral, slightly agree, definitely agree kind of thing. And I have trouble answering those, any questions that are like on a scale, or like any kind of like, I guess, like ranking system for like personality quizzes. I struggle with those, and struggle with like, okay, so what's me, and what's like the blurry area that isn't quite me but is still kind of me. I struggle with stuff like that all the time, and like it's hard to be a distinct person in this muddy thing that I call a dissociative disorder, where so many things are getting mixed up and overlapping, and there's so much talk between us, there's so many opinions between us, and like it's just like hard, I guess. In general, like it definitely affects my everyday life and figuring out just identity related things. And that's, I guess it's part of the reason why a lot of my identity talk videos are like kind of messy. Me trying to figure out what I definitively know about myself versus like things I'm questioning. I think that questioning part is where the dissociative disorder comes from. And things get confusing that way, I guess. So, closing statements. I always name the section in my notebook. I never know how to close out, because I'm really just reading off of like title and then specific points under the title. I'm not reading a script because I'm not good with scripts. So I'm reading like bullet points. So I never know how to close out a video other than just labeling it like, hey, closing statements, and say it out loud. But I guess despite the issues, I I mean, I don't think I'd be here without the dissociative disorder. I think learning about myself helps me figure out myself. I That's the best way I can describe that, is just accepting it rather than pushing it away or, hiding that part of myself. I think I would rather live with these issues rather than attempting to erase a disorder that I have. I think that not embracing or accepting, maybe accepting, just knowing, understanding that I have this issue, and that like I can learn a lot about myself by, looking more into the disorder and figuring out what it's about and how it affects my identity, because there's no getting rid of it. I'm slowly learning how to navigate it, and I think all of that effort has much more value to it than if I were to just block that part of myself out and say like, no, there's something wrong with me. I don't even want to touch this part of myself. So yeah, I guess the bottom line is just like, it's not a part of me I want to get rid of. It's not a part of me that I want to block out. I want to learn more about this specific disorder that I have, and I want to learn more about how to navigate it and how it ties in with my identity versus what is distinctly me and what separates me from the others. I think figuring that out is worth it more in the long run than just saying like, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm going to like not even talk about it because it's like weird or annoying or boring or whatever. I don't think that's the best way to go about it, I guess. So question of the week, specific to systems. I usually try to keep them a little more general, but this is a question specifically for systems. What kind of struggles do you face as a system, and how do you navigate that? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be there to talk it out and, reply and everything. I super appreciate the support. I appreciate all the comments that I get, and I guess just the interaction with the community. I love it. So I keep keep doing what you're doing. Keep commenting and replying and responding and all that. And I guess that's about it. So I'm signing off for now. See you later.